Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thank you very much for watching our earwax removal video today. If you haven't come across the channel before, we post new earwax removal videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 PM UK time. So if you're not subscribed already, then please consider subscribing. So what we've got in this video today, just a very brief description, we'll go straight into the video then. This patient came through complaining of some pain in their ear. So they basically had some referred pain which was going down into the jawline, down into the neck here. Had historically had wax in the past and wanted to come through just for us to check them over. So that's your background to the patient. So let's, without further ado, pop the patient up. There we go. So I'll put my glasses on so I can see. So what you can see here is we've got some quite light material sitting about just over halfway down the ear canal. It's very, very light. It looks a little bit wet. So it looks a bit like bleached wax. So it wouldn't, the patient has been using some drops, so it may well have been a bit of sodium bicarb. But as you go in here, you can start suctioning around the outside edge. You can see there's a bit of dry skin around the edge there, forming this kind of little pocket around the outside. And then when we try and get a grip on this more waxy material in the center section here, as we put the standard size Ulna tube on, which is what we're doing now, you start to notice that you're getting the grip, but it's not holding very well. Okay, it's not really pulling this this material out. Now when that starts to happen, you start to think this might not be wax. So what we've got here is actually a piece of cotton wool. Okay, that's what we call it here in the UK. So the end of a Q-tip, the end of a cotton wool bud. So we've got a bit of cotton wool in here, and as you pull the suction down, you can actually see the whiter material there, the fresher wool behind. So this, I did ask this patient, they said they'd used cotton buds once, but it certainly looks like that one time did leave this end behind. So as we get a good grip here with the crocodile forceps, because that's one of the most effective ways of removing the cotton wool, you'll see it pulls away. Look at this as it comes away. So quite a substantial piece. Now I never know whether this is a cotton wool ball or the end of a Q-tip, the end of a cotton wool bud. It's always difficult to tell with these kind of things. But look what was trapped behind it. Behind that, you've got this really dry, angular piece of wax which was sitting and sandwiched between the eardrum on one side and the back of the cotton wool ball on the other. So we're just using this to the standard size Ulna tube here just to pull this away. No wonder this patient was having some discomfort, having that cotton wool ball in there and having this trap behind it and pressing against the eardrum would have been really uncomfortable for the patient, not and let alone having any hearing issues on that side as well. So you can see this has come away really, really nicely. I might pause the video in a second, guys, because I do need to explain something about the next bit. So okay, right, let's get ready to pause this video. Okay, so you can see I've pointed out two sections of the eardrum there with arrows. Can you see you've got the hammer bone, which is at the sort of 45 degrees there, going from top right to bottom left. Either side of that, you've got these two almost like dimples, okay, these little recesses in the eardrum. Now, these are what they call retraction pockets, okay? So basically what's happening here is the pressure of the air behind the eardrum is lower than the outside air pressure. If you've ever had that sensation like you want to pop your ears, that's what's happening here. But those particular parts of the eardrum, there's a little bit more flexibility to the skin there, and those have drawn in slightly more than the skin around it, which has caused these little dimples, these little recesses in the eardrum, okay? The other thing you'll see, if I play this a little bit further, I'm going to point out one more thing on here, which is this section here. See, you've got, if you look to just to where the tip of the arrow is, you've got these kind of three beige lines that kind of go around like this. Now, you can see those are where the skin's actually attached. It's attached to the hammer bone, and where it's been drawn in, those are really prominent. So you can actually see those. So to equalize that pressure, lots of people ask me how we get rid of this. To equalize that pressure, you want to kind of be popping your ears, those kind of things. So anything you do that will pop your ears will help to bring those back out. Obviously, if they stay pulled in for a very long period of time, they can sometimes become attached, the skin can become attached to the structures behind it, which cause a few problems as well. So let's put that back on now. You'll also see that bottom right-hand corner, there's a little tiny bit of dry wax. So we're just going to go and grab that now with a fine end. Don't forget the fine ends are much, much narrower gauge, so it's much easier to get more precise movements. If you're looking at something really small, you're better off going in with a fine end and just grabbing it like that. And then off that will come So you can get a good look at the eardrum there. You can see it, it does look a little bit retracted, but otherwise okay. Now, I always check the patient's other ear, and I said to him that you've got a bit of wax on this side. It might be worth getting this out because doesn't look like there's a great deal of a gap around it here. So we've got the standard size ulnar tube in here as well. Just lifting at the base here. We're working on this bottom section because this looks like dry skin. Okay, so as we lift this, if we don't get that dry skin away, that dry skin's attached to the canal wall, attached to the wax, so it's going to stop us from getting that wax out of the ear canal as well. I'm sorry if I didn't do a shout out to countries today. I've been a bit sneaky. It's my dad's birthday on Wednesday, and I've got to go visit my dad. So I've actually recorded this on Monday. So if you did give a shout out for your country, I will do it on Friday, I promise. Okay. So we're just taking some of these little bits of dry skin around the outside edge. You can actually see the ring of where the dry skin was attached all around the edge there. It worked all this way up and over the top. So we've got rid of that, which means we can work on this central section now. Just using the standard size ulnar tube again. Holding on to that edge. There we go. Just lifting from the left side now, drawing this across. It's really wedged in here, this piece of wax. It's not really budging. And when we get a grip on it with the ulnar tube here, what's happening is I can feel it biting. I can feel it holding on to the debris that's in there. But for some reason, it's not maintaining the grip. Now, that indicates to me that the whatever we're holding on to is porous, okay, allowing air through, which is drawing through and into the suction, which means that this isn't wax. So this is actually another cotton bud jammed in the other ear. Patient hasn't had any issues with this side, no real loss of hearing. But look at this when we pull it out. So we're going to hold on to this. You can see it's gone this brown color, so it's discolored quite a way. So it's been in here a long time. But we're getting a really good grip. We're holding on to this. Look at this coming away. As you can see the dry skin around the outside edge. Still going, still going. There you go. So that cotton wool piece there was jammed down inside that ear canal, and that wasn't going anywhere unless it was taken away. What we're doing now is tidying up some of the dry skin around the outside edge. A byproduct, if you've got cotton wool stuck in your ears, I'm really sorry, I keep referring to cotton wool. That's what we call it here in the UK. I'm not too sure what they call it in the US. You can put that in the comment section below. But what we've got here is it dries the skin. It absorbs all the natural oils, all the moisture out of the skin underneath. So you end up with these really dry pieces of skin under there, which get really irritated sometimes. So what you have to be really careful of is it can dry the top layer of skin a bit too much, but the layer underneath is still living quite well. I'll explain that in a second. You can see as we peel this left-hand side here away, look at the color difference in skin. Okay, so at the underneath here, it looks quite it's difficult to describe, but it looks newer the further back we go. It's got a very different sheen to it. So it was more of a bluey sheen at the front, and it was getting far more pink as we went back. So as it was starting to detach that piece of skin, what I realized was it was actually leading into fresh, healthy skin behind. And the peel that we started at the front, it started to peel that as well, which means if we carried on with that peel, we would have hit blood vessels, so we would have caused bleeding. And the other thing you have to be careful of is that peel, if you just willy-nilly carried on taking it all the way down, that's going to be attached to the eardrum at the very bottom end. So if you were to, if you took it all the way back, you'd end up taking it right back to the eardrum, and you could end up doing some damage in there. So best to leave those alone. So what I did was stuck it back to the skin underneath. That will migrate out because we know the skin behind is healthy. So that's going to migrate that dry piece out, and eventually will break away at the front end of the ear canal. This is what we removed. So you can see here, the left-hand side is the piece of wax that was trapped between the piece of cotton wool in the middle and the eardrum itself. The piece on the right-hand side was what we took out of the second ear. So look at the color difference between those two. So you've got this much sort of fresher cotton wool in the middle, and look at that on the right hand side. It's just absorbed all the oils and everything else from the canal, so it looked really kind of really quite dry in there. Okay, let's go back to the normal view a second. Take these glasses off. So yeah, you can see that when you use cotton buds and Q-tips, we don't advocate using them. I know a lot of you guys do, and I know you guys are like using them. It can cause more problems. If you do end up sort of leaving stuff behind, it can cause some irritation in the ear as well. It's really interesting to see those retraction pockets and things like that as well on there. So it just gives you something a little bit different to look at. Well, I'm back again on Friday, guys. So it's all back to normal again on Friday. If you enjoyed the video, please like, and if you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And I'm going to go and enjoy my dad's birthday, and I hope you guys have a lovely day as well. So all the best, guys. Take care.